while everybody jumps in, I want to thank you for attending SEMA Businesswomen's Virtual Education Series. SBN's Resources and Events Committee continues to deliver virtual events to provide valuable resources to our members, as well as to provide solid networking opportunities for you to continue to connect with your peers, even if it's virtually. Be sure to connect all of our series at the SBN's website. Nicole will add the link to the chat today. Keep attention to the chat. We got a lot of stuff going on for you today, and as well as in a follow-up email. In today's session, we have asked Julie Couret, an executive coach, to walk us through the effective conflict management. Julie Couret is the executive coach for real people. She is known for her unabashedly candid approach that cuts through the noise and clutter. She works one-on-one with CEOs from owner-operators to Fortune 500 companies, getting to the core of the issues that cause executives to lose sleep. In her coaching discussions, she provides the clarity to help CEOs eliminate barriers for greater growth. Julie will talk to us for about 20 minutes before we move on into our breakout sessions. During this time, we'll ask you to keep your cameras off so that we can record the sessions, so we can go back and watch it again. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat, and we will go ahead and have Julie answer them as she goes. In the breakouts, this is your time to connect with each other. So go on and accomplish your goal, as well as building your networks. You can turn your cameras on and start connecting at that time during the breakout sessions. This series has been designated to facilitate your peer-to-peer networking in smaller groups. So take advantage of the time together in those groups. Talk, chat, provide your insights, and ask your questions. We encourage you to take the initiative to share your LinkedIn profile details as well, so you can connect afterwards with the members of your group as well. This will help you build connections and hopefully continue face-to-face later on at the SEMA show. Julie, take it over.
Well, hello, y'all. Good morning-ish for our folks over on the West Coast, and good midday to everyone else. My name is Julie. I'm an executive coach, and a big part of being a coach is dealing with conflict. So even though I may not be an employee for an organization, I'm often called in to deal with conflict. Generally speaking, people don't call me in if things are going great. Usually there's an issue. And there are different steps that you can take to handling conflict. Some people are really uncomfortable with conflict for a lot of reasons. Probably you can relate to some of these. They don't want to have somebody upset with them. They're not comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. They don't want somebody to hold a grudge against them at work if they have to keep working with them. They don't do well with other people's big emotions. Maybe someone's crying, and the list goes on. We all know, however, if we do not deal with things, they only fester, they only get worse. I have found that when you can take the elephant in the room and put it on the table and wrap your arms around it, you take the power away from the situation, and it becomes less of a big deal than we thought it was. So the way we're going to do this today is I'm going to give y'all some really great proven techniques and mindsets to have when you have to manage conflict, and not just as the boss of a situation, but as a peer to somebody else, and you'll see it in the scenarios. So I'll give y'all some tools, then you're going to break out, and we'll have 1 to 2 scenarios for y'all to work through in the group. If one takes all the time, then leave it as one. And then if you have time, you can do the second. Okay, so let's dive into how to effectively deal with conflict. These are some key elements that I want y'all to keep in mind, all right? One of them is you need to figure out the trigger. So the person who might be upset about something, or the two persons, what is the trigger? Because they might say, that person's just disengaged. I'm just so sick of them acting like this doesn't matter. So you and I may not be bothered by somebody who's disengaged. Like, well, there's no skin off my back. What do I care? So what's the trigger? And I want you to keep that in mind with some of the scenarios. Now, the things to keep in mind don't apply to everything. We're building a toolbox. But why is this bother somebody? Here's the tricky part. Do we think everybody actually knows what their triggers are and why it's bothering them? No, probably not. Think about it. Like, something's bothering you, and you can validate it, because whenever we believe something to be true, we will seek every piece of evidence to support that truth. Okay, so when we believe something to be true, we'll find every example to make that true, because we want to seem valid. But we might say, well, of course I'm bothered. I'm showing up and he cares, and I care, but he acts like this doesn't matter. Okay, but why is this triggering you? Why does this bother you so much? So a lot of the work that you're going to do in conflict resolution is getting to the source of why does this bother you so much? Because what does this mean to you? You really want to make sure whenever you're dealing with conflict that you're ultra validating where the person's coming from, the other person, the person who's upset. It's absolutely acceptable to say, I get it that it's annoying. I get that it's disruptive, but why do you care? And help them figure it out. So, does it feel like it's impacting what you're getting out of it? Does it ruin your credibility? Like, it might be really obvious and easy, but it may not be. And you need to start peeling back the layers of the onion to figure out what is it really getting to them. Because when there's conflict, you're talking about changing the behavior of somebody else, which is really hard. We want to, in the process of conflict resolution, we want to get the person who's bothered and upset to get as much healing and resolution internally as much as possible, even if that's half the battle. Because a lot of people, we operate off of how we feel and our emotions. Even though we might say it's logical, something bothers us, that's an emotion. So the reason we need to get to the trigger, why does this bother you? What does that really mean to you? Is because if we can help close that gap, we have less to go with the resolution. An example of this might be if you have somebody who's unprofessional on a team and you're really worried that it's going to impact the credibility of how your team is seen by other people. If that issue is more about how I'm going to be seen by my team, is he a reflection of me? If we can work on that and figure that out for that person, we're closing the gap. We can help them see that he's a reflection of him. He's not a reflection of you. That's just an example, but I think you can see where I'm driving at is find out what the issue is, because if we can help them find resolution, that listen, no matter what's going on here, this is still the case, then they have a little more control of the situation as well. So we're diving in, we're asking questions. We're also making it perfectly acceptable to feel however they feel, no matter what you might believe, no matter how you would act according to the situation. So when you are there to facilitate resolution, you have got to be the pillar of being centered. You need to come in with your tank full. You can't be exhausted and irritated. You cannot have just left a 3-hour meeting. Not that we have a choice whenever conflict comes our way, but when we do, I need you to show up completely there, that it is okay how you feel, because that way someone's not going to have to be frustrated by a situation and at the same time moderate their emotions. And I'm not talking about somebody flying off the handle, but let it be okay. Listen, it's okay if you're frustrated. It is okay that this is making you crazy. It is okay that you are burned out and tired. If you let them just be okay with that, remember, anything that's the elephant in the room, put it on the table, the power comes away from it. It dissolves away. Let it be okay. Feel like, you know what, I'm fed up. Like, tell me more about that. So some phrases you can say: tell me more, say more, help me understand. What does that mean? You want to get your head wrapped around a couple of things, why it bothers them so much. You also need to do some investigating. When there's conflict, you do need to interview people. And if there's small incidents, we don't want to put an unnecessary structure around questioning. Like, I need you to come in and we have to talk. It could be like, hey, Sam, I want to learn a little more about what happened in that staff meeting the other day. I heard about it, but I don't know everything that's going on. Can you fill me in? And you want to get a lot of data points. You want to get your head wrapped around things and get a really full picture of factually what happened. Then you need to also start to get your head wrapped around what it means to them, what's the impact on people affected, what the person's intentions are, how it's being perceived. Managing conflict. I mean, if that did not already make you go, oh my gosh, this is so much to keep track of. It's a lot. I mean, you have a lot of moving parts. Oh, hold on. I tried to wear my earbuds in the new fancy way, but I guess we'll just have one up and one not fancy. There we go. You have so many moving parts. You're like a puppet master trying to figure all these things out, but that's the only way to get to the bottom of it, is to literally get to the bottom of it. So the things that you want to understand, not just the facts, but if he does that, what's the impact? Who's that bothering? The person who's upset, is it really a big deal for the whole department, or is it just that one person? If it's two people and it's between the two of them, how's it impacting them? How are they interpreting it? What's their intention in the beginning when they're really going in to do those actions? What are they attempting to do? Because odds are they may not recognize what it's doing to other people and the impact. And you always want to go in assuming good, that we're here to build goodwill. Go in with it that, listen, no one's going to want to walk in here and destroy the morale of the team. Nobody wants that. Are there exceptions? Yes. And generally speaking, I call those the 10 percenters. 10% of the population don't care. They are there to disrupt, and they have their own agenda, and they're sneaky, and they're not to be trusted. But that's only 10%, y'all. Okay. Everybody else, when those situations are happening, and you are there to be the liaison to help other people understand, and you do want to have a lot of separate conversations to diffuse as much as possible before you bring people together. When you're having those conversations separately, that's a great opportunity to diffuse and remind them that, listen, I know that Daryl is acting this way. I also know, just like you, he's not walking in here saying, I really hope I can upset the team today. Nobody wants that. Nobody's walking around saying, I really hope my team doesn't think I care about them. Oh, that's what I'm going for. You want to humanize the situation, humanize the behavior. And then once we get all that, we're doing a lot of this with my hands because this is about diffusing. This is about taking it down a notch, taking the power out of the situation. And then we can go directly at that point to the core of it, and there's the behaviors themselves. And I do recommend that when you are having those individual conversations before you bring people together, is that you do as much healing and solving one-on-one. And you can even circle back. So I've done it where because I do like mediation even. I'm telling you, people call me when there's issues. And I will get both sides of the story from them. And then I will go back to them again and say, okay, listen, I spoke to Sharon, and here's where this is where I think we've landed. This is what I think is going on with her. But I understand where you're coming from. Are you comfortable? Because this is the conversation I'm going to have with all three of us. And these are the talking points we're going to go through. Then I go to the other person. Okay, Sharon, I spoke to so-and-so. I told her this is what I wanted to talk about, these three things. Do you feel good? This is good. We're all on the same page. Great. Let's come together. You do a lot of the diffusing in advance as much as possible and help them see the other side, help them see, and be the voice for them. It's hard. A lot of people, even people like myself that are, articulate and can handle the hot seat, even people like myself, I'm thrown into the fire. I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to add. And you clam up. So be the voice for both sides and say, Sam, am I getting this right? Joe, this is really the intention. And no, that's right. Okay. And then, so you do a lot of affirming. Did I get that right? Am I saying this right? Do I have my head wrapped around it? And again, take the power out of the situation and say, I know this is an uncomfortable conversation. I know this isn't fun. And I can appreciate that this is not what y'all want to be talking about. But I know we can get to the other side of it because we're both here. So you want to reaffirm your belief in everybody. Some final questioning steps as we begin to transition into our scenarios, which, by the way, are real life scenarios. You want to understand really what you're solving. And if you can, put it into a how to why. How do I get the team to understand this? Or how do I get Bob to be accepted by his peers? How do I get Matthew and Sharon? Whatever it is, how do I? Okay. And then you help them get to their own how do I, because we need to ask the right questions so we can solve the right problem. And go to Sharon and say, Sharon, I want to make sure I understand what we're talking about here. You want to get the safety department to take your concerns seriously. So is it, how do I get safety to take me seriously? No, that's not it. It's so you have to get to the right question. And then when you ask the questions, I want you to work with the other person or the people on a few items. One is, what have we done to date to solve it? What have we done to date to solve it? Okay. Why is this important? And who is it important to? And then you ask a lot of questions and say, I really want to get my head wrapped around the situation. If I may, I'd love to ask a ton of clarifying questions before you go into the solve. If you're anything like me and you love to be a team player and you love everybody to get along, you are Johnny on the spot with a solution. Before you do that, tell the other person, listen, I have some ideas in the direction we can go, but if I may, I would like to ask you some questions to really, and use the verbiage, really get my head wrapped around the situation a bit more. I really want to fully understand what's going on. I'm gonna go through and ask you a bunch of questions just so I get it. Is that cool? Okay, great. Always affirming that this is all right. Is that okay? Does that work? Am I getting that right? Once you feel like you have all the right questions, you've asked all the questions, circle back to that original how do I, and then are we asking the right question to solve? Is it that we need the safety team to take our issues seriously, or is it that you need a better working relationship with the safety director? You know what I mean? Once we flesh it out, we can even have greater clarity on what we have to solve. And there's so many different moving parts to conflict. It's okay to tell everybody involved, there's a lot of moving pieces here that I want to get my head wrapped around, and we are going to figure it out. I do need y'all's patience on this, and I really appreciate it. Feel free to give them some guidelines of support. Like, okay, y'all, in the meantime, however, please don't email about this. Please don't let this leave this room. Please don't be discussing this with your coworkers. And control the narrative when you're engaging with everybody. Be really cognizant that, listen, y'all, I don't want this getting out. I don't want this water cooler talk, or I still want us acting professionally in the staff meetings, whatever the case may be, but show them that you're on it, give them structure, give them support, and let them know as you're working through the situation, like, okay, tomorrow we're going to meet, or listen, I'm not meeting with her till Monday. I'm sorry. It's going to be another week. Keep them posted. Remember that it's conflict. So there's like feelings and emotions involved.